everyone and welcome. This is Chloe at Cousin DIY. Today we're going to make gnome ornaments. We're going to use pom-poms, foam paper, Swarovski crystals, a wooden bead for the nose, jingle bell at the top, some cording. Let's get started. The first step is to download this pattern for the hat. And I've already traced it on this piece of foam paper. And or you can make your own. The radius is 4 inches from the center to the outside. And I made this pattern so that it fits perfectly around this big 3-inch pom-pom. So we'll cut this out. As you see, we'll just fold this around like this and it creates a little cone hat. I tried several ways of, I tried to glue this together with a hot glue gun, but I don't have a precision point hot glue gun at my disposal today. So instead, I used some packing tape, which is very sticky, as you know. And I measured a 4-inch piece. So we'll cut a 4-inch piece. And this worked really well. But if you do have a precision point hot glue gun, you can use that to glue the two edges right together. So I just am going to measure approximately 4 inches. This is right about there. I will put that side of the tape down here. Then I'm going to wrap it around. There, and as you can see, that works pretty well. You can readjust it. Then I'm just going to trim the little bit of tape that's... Now later on, we're going to be snipping the tip of this hat off to put the pom-pom on top. So I'm not worried that there's a little bit of gap up there. So now I'm going to take my pom-pom and then I'm going to set this hat right on there. And this is going to help me determine where I want to sew my nose on. So let's take some thread, needle and thread. This pom-pom it's not like a pom-pom you'd make out of yarn. It's solid, which enables you to sew on it. So I want my nose just below the hat. So I want my nose right about here. I'm going to do a couple passes through, then make sure it's where I want it. And it is. I want to make sure that's nice and secure, so I'm going to pass through this bead several times. Because I've got a short little tail here, I'm just going to tie those two tails together into a knot and then trim them off. There. Now we have our nose. And actually, while I have my needle and thread out, I'm going to go ahead and sew a jingle bell on this 1-inch pom-pom. I'm going to set this aside for now. Now I'm going to set up my glue gun and I'll be right back. Now that my hot glue gun is heated up, the next step is to figure out how you want to position your hat on your pom-pom and put a thick line of glue all the way around the bottom inside of the hat. And push it down, and that will hold it in place. I'm going to set my glue gun aside for a few minutes, and the next step is going to be to paint a few lines and squiggles onto the cap. So here's my white acrylic paint and my fine tip paintbrush. And we're going to set this aside and let it dry for a few minutes, and we'll be right back. Now that the paint is dry, we can start embellishing it with Swarovski crystals. Just a note, I use this little cuppette to set my gnome in while that paint dried. Worked pretty well. And we sell these on our website. Okay, now I'm going to decide where I want my crystals. You can choose whatever color crystals you want. My instructions have these 4 colors: blue, green, red, and clear. I don't know if you can see those or not. And you can just decide where you want to start. I think I'm going to start in the middle. The first one I made was red, had a red hat. I'm making a green hat this time, so I might use a little different combination of crystals. I think I'm going to start right in the middle with a tiny little dot of glue. And I'm using a katana. The katana is a tool that you can find on our website. It's a wax tip end that grabs onto the crystals, and then you push it on the glue where you want them, and it releases them. And then I'm going to just keep going until I have all my crystals where I want them. Okay, now I'm going to let these dry, and we'll be right back. Okay, now that the glue has dried, the last couple of steps involve cutting the very tip. I'm going to start by cutting just a little bit and cutting more if I need to. Just the tip of our hat off. And then I cut a 10 to 12 inch length of this red and white cord. We're going to fold it in half and then tie a double overhand knot in the end. And one more. There we go. Next, I'm going to take the glue gun and I'm going to fill the very top of the hat with some glue, and I'm going to stick the knot down into that on the back side. And then I'm going to take the little pom-pom with the jingle bell that we set aside, and I'm going to put some glue right here on the top front. And glue that on the top. We'll let that dry for a few minutes. If you make your own gnome ornaments, we'd love to see them. You can share them with us on Instagram at #CreateWithCousin. Thanks for joining us today. Happy holidays. Bye.